lobes and the other one has 3 lobes. Okay, and it further divides into different branches, which are called the second degree and the third degree bronchioles. Okay, the exchange of gases takes place at the alveolar level, and everything which is concerned with the lung, excuse me, everything which is pertaining to the lung takes the prefix of pleura. So plural.
We can't see your screen.
Can you see now? Okay. So pleural effusion is collect. Can you see me now?
And we can see you. If you are sharing the
Yes,
screen,
ma'am.
we can't see that.
I'm not sharing anything. I'm
All
only
right.
speaking.
All right. All right.
Okay. So collection of fluid in the lung is known as pleural effusion. Infection of the lung is known as pleuritis. So wherever you have the word pleura, it means we are talking about the lungs. And as I told you, the smallest level and the consistency of the lung is like a foam. वो बर्तन धोते हैं या सोफे के अंदर जो रहता है ना foam, is a whole वाला structure. Honeycomb areas रहते हैं जिसमें. Yes, that is what is the structure of the lung like. Why is it like that? Because that increases the surface area and more space is available for exchange of gases. The other thing is in chronic smokers, the nicotine which is secreted goes and gets deposited in the lung, and it paints the walls of these alveoli with a black damper like material which is used in making roads, that sticky black substance. So as a result of that, it collapses the lung wall. Understood? So it collapses the lung wall, and that much area is not available for exchange of gases. So it is like breathing for a full lung against breathing for half a lung, which is available for exchange of gases. Obviously, it's going to be more difficult for breathing in half a lung. When there is more space, it is a more easier breathing exercise that happens. Did you understand that point? So it's a good idea. If you want to smoke, you can smoke 2 or 3 cigarettes a day, but kindly do not be a chain smoker such that such a good part of the lung gets destroyed. You are slowly working towards killing yourself only. Okay, that's one thing. Take home message, rather, I would say. That's about the respiratory system. There are 2, 3 videos. We will see them all together. The next system which I want to discuss with you is the digestive system. Okay. Now, the food that we eat has to be broken down into simpler particles such that it can be absorbed in the human alimentary system. It can be utilized further, and then whatever is not needed, whatever is a waste product, can be excreted out. The 3 main headings of the food particles are carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. I'll just show you one picture where the different parts of the alimentary canal are shown. This one. Can you see the slide now, Vansh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is the mouth, and you've got the salivary gland located over here. This tube-like structure, in simple words, is known as the food pipe. Otherwise, it is called the esophagus. It drains into the stomach. This organ is called the pancreas. It is present in this area over here, overlapping. This dark red maroonish structure is called the liver. And behind the liver, this green tissue which is jutting forward is called the gallbladder. Okay. And these are the intestine. So if you see this picture, I will tell you the entire digestive system now. Now, the food that you eat is taken into the mouth, and you have enzymes which are coming from the salivary glands which act upon the carbohydrates and break them into simple sugar. यहाँ पे हो गया वो काम. Carbohydrates simple sugar में टूट गया. This food with peristaltic action will reach the stomach. The main secretion of the stomach is hydrochloric acid. Okay. Now, the stomach mucosa is designed in such a way whether you eat your food or not, at a particular time every day, the HCl gas is secreted. That is why When you do not eat your food on time, तो क्या होता है? Acidity हो जाती है. Repeated acidity can lead to ulcers. Okay. Now this food moves further down. Then you have enzymes which are coming from the pancreas, the liver, and the gallbladder, and they primarily break the proteins into simple amino acids, and the fat emulsification happens. It is broken down into simple fats. So now everything is broken down, and now begins the process of absorption, which happens mostly in the large intestine. There too, the tissue is specially designed because there are finger like projections which are called villi. Also, there are specific stations for each. So, whatever is needed by the body is retained, and whatever is not needed is pushed, 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 pushed. Why so many pushes? Because it's a very, very long track. Pushed till it reaches the rectum, which is the reservoir, and then it is excreted out via the anus as feces, depending on what your frequency is, whether it is once in 24 hours, once in 12 hours, once in 4 hours, or if you have loose motion, maybe once in every 15 minutes also. Okay. So, this in very, very simple words, I have explained the digestive system to you. Have you guys understood? Bolo. Have you understood or do you want me to repeat?
Repeat.
Digestive system repeat करूँ कि respiratory system repeat करूँ?
मैम डाइजेस्टिव करो मैम, वो
चलो.
एब्जॉर्प्शन कहाँ पे हो रही है और जो फ्लूइड्स एक्सक्रीशन हो रहे हैं वो बता दो बस.
Absorption कहाँ पे हो रही है? Absorption large intestine में हो रही है.
स्पेसिफिक न्यूट्रिशंस होते हैं ना कि लार्ज
स्पेसिफिक आपको
इंटेस्टाइन में
बहुत
क्या
ज्यादा
होता
नहीं जानना है. अभी
है. ओके
हम
ओके.
डीजी शिपिंग के वेबसाइट के वीडियोस देखेंगे, उसमें आपको थोड़ा और क्लियर
ये
होगा.
रहा.
फिर भी नहीं समझ में आया तो फिर मैं और एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ. ये मैंने आपको एक आउटलाइन दी है. हर एक का इंडिविजुअल बहुत सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी वीडियोस है, हम उसको प्ले करते हैं. ठीक है.
ये लो.
फिर भी नहीं समझा तो मुझे बता. जीत, you can take over. We will start with the respiratory system first.
अबे इतनी जरूरी नहीं है वो.
In this media, you will learn about how we breathe. We all know that we inhale and exhale air through our nostrils, and then the air reaches our lungs. To understand the mechanism of breathing, it is important to learn the anatomy of lungs. Let us observe the structure of our lungs. You can see that our lungs are placed in the chest cavity. The windpipe connects the nasal cavity to the lungs and helps in the passage of air. The lungs are well protected by the rib cage, which surrounds the lungs on sides. You can see that the diaphragm, a large muscular sheet, forms the base of the chest cavity. The rib cage and the diaphragm play an important role in the mechanism of breathing. Let us understand the mechanism of breathing. We inhale air through our nostrils. This air then passes to the lungs with the help of the windpipe. Breathing involves the movement of rib muscles and diaphragm. During inhalation, rib muscles move up and expand outwards, while the diaphragm moves downwards. This combined movement of rib muscles and diaphragm increases space in the chest cavity and allows airflow. During exhalation, rib muscles move down and contract inwards, while the diaphragm comes to its normal position. This contraction of rib muscles and movement of diaphragm results in the reduction of space in the chest cavity, and thus air is pushed out of the lungs. If you keep your hand on your abdomen for a few seconds, you can feel the movement happening during inhalation and exhalation. The air that we inhale has many unwanted components like smoke, dust particles, pollen, grains, etc. Sometimes while breathing, some particles get stuck in the hair follicles of your nose. These cause irritation in the nose and result in sneezing. Smoking damages lungs and may also cause cancer, hence, we should not smoke. Thus, you have learned about how we breathe.
All the respiration parts in detail. Yeah, play that video.
Human respiratory tract consists of nose, mouth, pharynx, larynx, and trachea. Followed by these organs, trachea has carina. The trachea is further separated into upper and lower lobar bronchus at both left and right side. This is another view of morphology of respiratory tract. The trachea, left lung, pulmonary blood vessels, and heart are the visible parts. The lungs consist of right, left, upper, middle, and lower lobes.
Now we'll see the videos of the digestive system.
In the following media, you will learn about digestion in humans. Human beings ingest food through the mouth. The food is then digested and transported to the organs in the body. The undigested components of the food are eliminated. Food entering into the mouth moves through a continuous passage called the alimentary canal, which is also called the digestive tract. The alimentary canal starts with the buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and ends with the anus. As the food passes through the alimentary canal, it gets digested. The internal walls of the stomach and small intestine secrete digestive juices. Organs like the liver, pancreas, and glands like salivary glands also secrete digestive juices. Digestive juices make the digestion process easier by breaking down the large complex food into smaller components. The alimentary canal and the glands related to it form the digestive system. Thus, you have learned about digestion in humans. Primary function of the digestive system are the breakdown of food and absorption of nutrients. The breakdown of food is called digestion. In mouth, food is broken down into smaller pieces through a process called mastication. It results in formation of food bolus. Salivary glands located near oral cavity secrete saliva. It begins chemical digestion. After mastication, food is swallowed. The soft palate prevents food from entering the nasal cavity. Food particles are pushed through the pharynx to the esophagus. The esophagus connects the pharynx to the stomach. Food bolus enters the stomach. Stomach cells secrete hydrochloric acid. Chemical reactions of enzymes like pepsin digest food bolus. Bolus is further broken down by muscular contractions in stomach. It mixes up with secretions to form a thick liquid called chyme. Bile from liver and enzymes from pancreas empty into duodenum to digest chyme. Microvilli of jejunum and ileum absorb nutrients into blood and lymph. Water and mineral salts are absorbed in colon. Undigested material will be eliminated from body through the anal opening. In the following media, you will see an activity on functions of saliva. Take two test tubes and name them X and Y. Pour 1 spoon of boiled rice in test tube X. Chew another spoon of boiled rice for 4 to 5 minutes and pour it in test tube Y. Pour some amount of water in the two test tubes. Add a drop of iodine solution in both test tubes. The color of boiled rice in test tube X turns to blue. This is due to the presence of starch. The color has not changed the other test tube because the starch is broken down into simple sugars by the saliva. The floor of the buccal cavity has a boneless, muscular organ called the tongue. It performs many functions. It is mainly used for talking. It helps in mixing of food and saliva. The tongue contains taste buds which aid in tasting the different flavors of food. Thus you have seen an activity on functions of saliva. In the following media, you will see an activity on position of
You
taste
can take a
buds.
screenshot for location of the taste buds.
Make 4 solutions using sugar. Make 4 solutions using sugar, salt, lime juice, and juice of bitter gourd. Close one of your friend's eyes with a cloth and tell him to show his tongue out in a flat posture. Put a drop of each solution one by one using a toothpick in different areas of the tongue. Now, tell your friend to identify the locations where he can feel the different tastes in the tongue. Note down the observations and perform this experiment with other friends. Thus, you have seen an activity on positions of taste buds. In the following media, you will learn about the mouth and buccal cavity. Food is ingested through the mouth. The method of acquiring food by the body is called as ingestion. The food entering the mouth is chewed by the teeth and broken down into smaller pieces. Separate sockets are allotted for each tooth in the gums. Teeth have different functions and shapes. They are named correspondingly. During childhood, a set of teeth grows and falls out. These are called milk teeth. These teeth then are replaced by another set of teeth called permanent teeth. Permanent teeth last for our lifespan. It may fall out at old age or due to some disorder in the teeth. Thus you have learned about the mouth and buccal cavity. In the following media, you will learn about the food pipe or esophagus. Food is chewed in the mouth. Then the food enters the food pipe or esophagus. The food pipe starts at the pharynx and ends at the stomach. The movement of the walls of the food pipe pushes the food down. Food is pushed all over the alimentary canal by this movement called peristalsis. If the food is rejected by the stomach, it is immediately expelled out. Thus you have learned about the food pipe or esophagus. In the following media,
Just show me that picture
You will-
again. 1 second, Jeet. The last picture. Just take a still of that. No, earlier on. Yeah, just freeze here. This food pipe picture. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Can you see my cursor? Can you see this area, this flower-like area?
No, ma'am.
How do I show you? See, this brain structure is there. How do I show you?
There's
There's
white
something like,
white behind the back side of the brain.
yes, this
लो,
flower like structure. देखो ऐसे ऐसे
ऐसे हाँ अब दिख रहा है मैम सर कर्सर.
सर्कल दिख रहा, हाँ बराबर है, यहाँ जहाँ उसका कर्सर है जीत का. सो दिस एरिया इज द सेरिबेलम. ठीक है. और ये एक ऐसा देखो नेक में लाइन जा रही है सीधी. इसकी थोड़े थोड़े इधर आओ, ये वर्टिब्रल कॉलम है जहाँ आपका कर्सर है, उसके नेक्स्ट जाओ. उधर नहीं, पीछे बीच में आओ, ये वाइट एरिया. ये दिख रहा है ऐसा गोल, दो बेंड, दो दो लंप्स है. नहीं, इधर आओ बीच में. नहीं, इसके नेक्स्ट
जीत जो ये पीछे बोन के आगे
पीछे की
बीच में
तरफ ये
मिडल
ऐसा
मिडल
येलो
मिडल में
लाइन
जो
दिख
जा रहा
रही
है
है,
हाँ ये
क्रीमिश लाइन दिख
राइट
रही है.
ये सी में इसी के ऊपर ये
हाँ, इसके ऊपर ट्रेस करो जीत. ये जो एरिया है ना, इसका जो अपर पोर्शन है, ये जो दो बम्प दिख रहे हैं, इनको मिड ब्रेन बोलते हैं. क्योंकि ये बहुत अच्छा पिक्चर था, मुझे लगा मैं आपको यहाँ समझा देती हूँ. दिस इज द नेक्स्ट सिस्टम दैट यू विल डील विद. द रेस्ट ऑफ इट इज कॉल्ड सेरिब्रम. ये जो जहाँ पे जीत का एरो है अभी, वो है मिड ब्रेन एरिया. और वो जो फ्लावर जैसा स्ट्रक्चर है ना, वो सेरिबेलम है. इतना ध्यान में रखो, बाकी का मैं बाद में एक्सप्लेन करूँ. चलो मूव फर्दर प्लीज जीत.
Learn about the stomach. Human stomach is like a bag and has thick muscular walls. It is in the shape of a flattened U. It is broader than the other parts of the alimentary canal. The food is pushed into one end of the stomach by the esophagus. The stomach then pushes the digested food into the small intestine through its other end. The lining inside the stomach releases mucus, hydrochloric acid, and other digestive juices. The mucus shields the lining inside the stomach. The acid destroys the harmful microorganisms present in the food. The secretion of such acids into the stomach helps in maintaining an acidic medium that prevents bacterial growth. It also aids the juices in the stomach to act upon the food. The digestive juices reduce the complex protein components into simpler forms. Thus, you have learned about the stomach. In the following media, you will learn about the small intestine. The small intestine is 7.5 meters long and it is extremely coiled. The pancreas and the liver secrete juices into the small intestine. The walls of the small intestine also secrete juices. The liver is a gland which is located in the upper portion of the abdomen on the right side. It is reddish-brown in color. The liver is the largest gland in the body. Bile is secreted by the liver. The gallbladder is a sac-like structure which stores the secreted bile. The bile is used in the digestion of fats. The pancreas is situated beneath the stomach. It is large and cream in color. The juice secreted by the pancreas breaks down the complex carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into simpler components. The stomach partially digests the food and pushes it into the small intestine. The intestinal juices in the small intestine act on the food and complete the digestion. The carbohydrates are broken down to glucose. Triglycerides are digested to fatty acids and glycerol, and the proteins are broken down into amino acids. Thus you have learned about the small intestine. In the
So are
following
things a
media,
little more clearer? 1 second. Are things a little more clearer, Vansh? See that last bit of video where everything is happening in the large intestine. Please play.
Yes.
you will learn about absorption in the following media, you will learn about absorption in small intestine. After the digestion is complete, the blood vessels present in the walls of the small intestine receive the digested food. This method is called absorption. The internal walls of the small intestine consist of finger-like projections called villi. They help in increasing the surface area while absorbing the digested food. Each villus has a set of thin and small blood vessels near its surface. The digested food is absorbed by the surface of the villi. The blood vessels transport the substances that are absorbed to various parts of the body. These absorbed food components help in forming the complex components like proteins. This process is known as assimilation. Aerobic respiration breaks down the glucose to carbon dioxide and water and releases energy. Thus, you have learned about absorption in small intestine. Liver is unique in the multiplicity of functions performed, such as metabolic, storage, synthesis, detoxification, and erythropoiesis. It participates in maintenance of constant blood glucose and in production and storage of glycogen. Liver is the site for synthesis of cholesterol and phospholipids. Another important function of liver is production of various substances like blood clotting factors. Oxidative deamination of amino acids results in the formation of ammonia. The toxic ammonia is converted to urea in the liver and excreted in urine. Vitamin A, D, K, and folic acids are stored in the liver. Bile is secreted by the liver. It is necessary for the emulsification of fat during digestion. Liver detoxifies alcohol, drugs, and toxic substances. It converts fat-soluble to water-soluble substances and excretes them in bile or urine. Liver produces all blood cells during the 2nd to 5th month of intrauterine life. Prothrombin is a protein that helps in blood
You can
clotting.
skip this video. There's a lot of fact over here. That chart you will have to remember. Let's see gallbladder. This is nothing now. Fine, enough. I think that's done. Okay. So is the overview, this is all about the liver, where you can just read the functions when you see yourself. Everything summed up. Okay. So are these two systems a little more clearer to you boys? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
One doubt clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Shall we join back by 5:15 then?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
5:09 हो गया. 5:20. Okay, 5:20.